Shem Hashem Naaseh V'Natzliach, Shiur Torah. Bruchim Habayim. We're back here in our weekly shiur of the Iggeret HaGra, the extraordinary letter by the Gaon Mivilna to his wife and the rest of his family, and needless to say, to us. Well, we're learning this week after week, learning how to live like a Jew, how to think like a Jew, how to understand things from the perspective of the sages and how they got to be where they are. Tonight's shiur will be for Ilui Nishmat Malka Bat Mazal, Shem Yerachem, a little tinoket that died at 5 weeks old. May Hashem bring a lot of good to the family, Bezat Hashem, in better times, and nechama, that this baby was clearly a very righteous neshama that came to the world and only needed to complete a tikkun for a very short period of time before going to Gan Eden, which although is great for that neshama and even great for the people that understand it, needless to say, it's a difficulty that you don't even wish on your enemies. So may HaKadosh Baruch Hu bring nechama to our parents and to all that are suffering because of it. Also, tonight's shiur will be for a refuah shlema for Hinda Chaya Bat Charna, and also Chaim Akiva Ben Hinda Esther, Rabbanit Levana Bat Sarah, Rab Ephraim Ben Shulamit, Rabbanit Sarah Bat Anat, David Ben Esriya, Doris Bat Jora, Yitro Ben Avraham, Talia Bat Sarah, Orit Bat Ilana, Rivka Bat Sarah, and Tinok Ben Rivka. I still don't know the name of the Tinok. I'm assuming they haven't done the Brit Milah yet, but Baruch Hashem, the Tinok is miraculously out of the hospital despite being born premature. Several months, Baruch Hashem, miraculously the prayers have worked. Hashem had mercy on us. And the baby's out, back, he's home, and we're waiting to hear the good news that the Brit Milah is going to come. Also, tonight's shiur will be for Atzlacha Rabba, for Amir ben Shaheen, Netanel Yosef ben Avraham, Alex ben Noach, Joshua ben Noach, David ben Esriya, Oshri ben Doris, Gabi ben Doris, Elad ben Doris, Reuven Chaim ben Pala Parel, Shaul ben Farzane, Marsha bat Julie, Ayla bat Marsha, Samuel ben Marsha, Cephas ben Marsha, Alexander ben Marsha, Louis ben Marsha, and if I didn't say it, Shaul ben Farzane. הקדוש ברוך הוא יברך אותם בכל מכל כל, חיים ארוכים, שלמים, מלאים תורה, מצוות, גמילות חסדים, נחת וברכה, to them and to all of the righteous people that continue to help us do all the amazing things that we're doing, Baruch Hashem. So a little brief update. The campaign for Rosh Hashanah continues to go. We're pushing, Baruch Hashem, and I got news today that we've already run out of the money that we originally designated to give to help all of the Avrechim and all of the righteous families and all the poor people in Eretz Yisrael. And still we had more people coming. There was a whole group of Avrechim from our kollel, from different kollels, like a whole different community came. Shtabach Shimo, one person that we already gave to our community, I think something like 60 families or 70 families came today and pretty much gave us a report of 18 more families. And although it's not Purim, where in Purim anyone that comes to you, you have to say yes, Baruch Hashem, we said that Kadosh Baruch Hu makes a rule. Mi ekdimani v'ashalem, who did me a favor first, and I'll pay him. So although we didn't even raise the money yet that we already poured out, we said help those people too, and HaKadosh Baruch Hu will pay for it. It's his bill. So we continue to push forward for all of you that want to help with the helping the poor people for Rosh Hashanah, for Sukkot, for all of these different holidays. This is the time to make the donations. There is the main campaign that is on our website, designated website, www.bhrh.org. B as in Be'ezrat, H as in Hashem, R as in Rosh, and H as in Hashanah. .org. That's our main campaign website. Over there, you're only going to see 3 choices, which we'd love everybody to be able to do and to afford getting themselves one of those choices. But it starts at $4,000 and it ends at $50,000. Now, of course, many people can't afford it, and Baruch Hashem, a few people did get one of those. For that, they'll not only be a major partner in this campaign, but also they'll get a special recorded video blessing to them from myself, from Rabbi Ephraim. If they go with the a little more expensive one, they'll also get a shiur dedicated to them, both from me and from Rabbi Ephraim, which for the amount of merits they'll get just for that single shiur, if you even put several zeros next to that 8,000, it'd still be worth it. If people only understood what it means to help people do tshuva, to help people get closer to Hashem, they'd literally give their net worth for it. But unfortunately, we live in a generation that does not know the real value of helping people do tshuva. So sometimes you have to explain it and remind people of it. And the last amount, if somebody wants to have an entire series of lectures dedicated to them, this is something that's extraordinary. I mean, you could just imagine all of the people, thousands and thousands, tens of thousands of people that have watched the series we have about Pirkei Avot, the series we have about the Iggeret HaRambam, the series that we have Stump the Rabbi, already going on for a few years, the series that we had of Emunah and Bitachon. All of these series have literally reached tens of thousands of people. Imagine having the next one dedicated to you. So this is one of the things for those that can afford it. Of course, for everybody else that wants to help but can't afford to get these other things, then simply go to our website or go to the app, our Be'ezrat Hashem app, and donate whatever you can. Donate simply whatever you can over there, whether it's $5, $10, $1,000, $500. All amounts are welcome. All amounts are appreciated. Donate it over there, and Be'ezrat Hashem, we will be able to reach more and more people. We're trying to reach 15,000 people during this holiday, and Be'ezrat Hashem will succeed. So that's news number 1 on the campaign. News number 2, the YouTube jail that the main channel has been in has definitely hurt, in a sense that less people became aware of the lecture that we gave on Sunday night. We see from the views, from the reach that we got, most of you have not subscribed to the Be'ezrat Hashem channel. Please subscribe to that channel, not only because we're still in YouTube jail, for you to be aware that we're releasing new videos. You won't know unless you're subscribed to that channel, but also because there are other videos that we release pretty much every day on that channel that are not on my main channel. This channel, the Be'ezrat Hashem channel, has videos from our kollel in Yerushalayim, the kollel of the Dayanut that we have, Rav Sharvit, Rav Ben Naim. All of these tzaddikim are starting to give shiurim, and these are extraordinarily brilliant people, fantastic shiurim. For anyone that speaks Hebrew, you'll understand what I mean the second you press play, and you'll see how much to get the emet is always good, but to get the emet from someone that's literally a stone throw away from becoming one of the dayanim in Eretz Yisrael is mamash a gift. We also have our series of lectures by our own dear Rabbi Leib, who's giving a series of lectures to several of our students that has actually taken off, Baruch Hashem. This is actually also available for people that want to join that session. Can contact me. And he's teaching Ilchot Shabbat, he's teaching Ilchot Lashon Hara, he's teaching a lot of different things that are Musar in general, a lot of things that people are really, that have watched it, have sent me private messages and even made some nice comments on the online that they're really appreciative of this these shiurim. So Rabbi Leib has been going for a while, and again, this channel is the one that has it. And of course, we have other things going on there. So that's the Facebook or YouTube jail. The sentence, from what I know, is since they ignored our response and our appeal, the sentence should be over this next couple of days. So with that being said, we have a major news that we are going to release our next major film. And by major film, I don't mean a major film because we like it. I mean a major film that from the amount of Yetzer Hara that we've had, making it, dealing with it, copyrights, reviewing it, and so on, I believe that this film is going to shake the world, no less than the Tikkun Abrit movie has. Personally, I think it is the scariest thing I've ever seen. So it's definitely not for the faint of heart, but it's necessary for every Jew to watch it, and every non-Jew to watch it. This movie is called Chibut HaKever, and it's coming out, Be'ezrat Hashem, in the next few days. It's either going to be Motzei Shabbat, or perhaps it's going to be, maybe Sunday, but most likely Motzei Shabbat will release this film. It's going to be a major film, and Be'ezrat Hashem, we'll release it everywhere. Initially, it'll be released just in English, and then Be'ezrat Hashem will do as we did with the other films. We'll add the subtitles in different languages over time. So this has been something we've been working on for a long time. Baruch Hashem, it's complete. Now, one thing that this film has that no other film has to the same extent, it has evidence. I don't mean just evidence like words from the sages, which is more than enough. We mean we actually have video evidence of Chibut HaKever included in the film. Hence the reason why I said this is not for the faint of heart. It's when I saw it, when I heard it, I cried. So it's a very scary movie, but we have to understand this is Torah, and we need to learn it. And when a person understands what is waiting for each and every single one of us, he will do or she will do everything possible to fix that situation so it doesn't get to that point. And this is before Gehenom, this is before Kafakela, this is before everything. So for all of those people that like to make fun of the sages, like to make fun of Yirat Shamayim, like to make fun of Musar, this film is dedicated to you. That Be'ezrat Hashem, enough people do tshuva that'll break your klipa and help you do tshuva also, because we don't want anyone to have the suffering that's discussed in this film. Hashem Yishmor v'yatzil. So I highly recommend it for everybody to watch, to share it, to invest in it, to do whatever you possibly can to get this movie out there. So for anyone that's interested in helping us put this film on USB, for us to be able to launch a website with this film on there, which Be'ezrat Hashem will be working on, to do the same thing that we did with Tikkun Abrit and with Hashem Took Back His Millions. Anyone that wants to be a partner in this, you're more than welcome to. This has been a secret project we've been working on for a long time, mainly because of the Yetzer Hara that's involved in it. Mainly because of the Yetzer Hara involved in it. And again, I'm sure that there's going to be naysayers that say all types of stupid things. Your blood is in your own hands. Again, it's this is a film that's highly recommended for everybody. Now, one major exception that's different from Tikkun Abrit is that while I recommend the Tikkun Brit and the Hashem Took Back His Millions movies to everybody to watch, both children, adults, teenagers, new people, from birth, rabbis, scholars, regular students, Baalei Tshuva, converts, goyim, everybody should watch those two movies multiple times. Hashem Took Back His Millions is very inspiring. Tikkun Brit is very informative and scary and helps everybody that watches it. Those two films, I highly recommend people to recommend it to people, to watch them on a regular basis, be inspired by them. While I don't like to watch my own lectures, those films, anytime I do get a chance to have to review something or have to look at them, I enjoy them. This particular film, Chibut HaKever, I only recommend for adults. I don't recommend it for children. Meaning children is not like the secular definition of children, which is pretty much, I don't know, like everybody under 30. No, children to us means anyone that's under bar mitzvah. Anyone that's under bar mitzvah, under bat mitzvah, unless they're extremely mature and they've already watched many of our other lectures and they're able to handle it, this particular film of Chibut HaKever, not for them. It should be for everybody that's a little older. 13 years old for boys, 12 years old for girls, and up. Everybody else that's an adult already, that's in their teens and 20s and 30s and 70s and 100s, should definitely watch this movie multiple times. And as much as you possibly can handle. Because it's if you don't have Yirat Shamayim after you watch this film, then you should probably check your pulse. Most likely you're already there. Again, it's highly recommended for people to watch it. Hold on a second. Okay. Oh, and here we go. Yeah. One second, guys. We have one of Meza's. Because we have this new system, so I get to see the comments while I'm talking, and a few people are complaining about one of Asher Meza's soldiers of Erev Rav has decided to join us and annoy people. So let's see if we could do something about it while I talk. 1 second. Yeah, there we go. Okay, this is the best that I can do. Thank you for cursing me. Thank you for saying all types of wonderful things. Yishtabach Shemo. You curse here, but HaKadosh Baruch Hu blesses up there. And really the only reason I block these people, or try to block them, even though they're like cockroaches that keep coming back, is because it bothers you guys. To me, it doesn't bother me. And if you notice, many times people curse me out, or say stupid things on the comments on YouTube. I leave them there. Dafka, I leave them there. It's good for my neshama. It's good for humility, and it's also good that Be'ezrat Hashem, when HaKadosh Baruch Hu decides to take vengeance against those people, that they won't ask why. Everybody's gonna know why. So Be'ezrat Hashem. So with that being said, Rabotai, we have a wonderful, wonderful last piece of news. If you remember, I told you we came out with 2 new books. Baruch Hashem, we got delivery of those 2 new books. One of them is a extraordinary book. It's all in Hebrew. Be'ezrat Hashem, over time we'll do it in English too. I just got my copies. It came out mamash beautiful. This will also be available for free to download online on our website, Be'ezrat Hashem website, and also for those ladies that have the desire to do kiruv for the issues of tarat mishpacha in their community. There's a lot of Hebrew speakers in your community in the U.S. Please contact us. We'll send you a few of these. It's all color. It's all beautiful. It's a book about tarat mishpacha, the significance of it, written by an expert. What's an expert? A woman that's been a balanit for almost 4 decades. Rabbi Ephraim's mother, the Rabbanit Shulamit Kachlon, wrote this book. Half the book, or 75% of the book, is different details about Tarat Mishpacha, personal stories, beautiful things that she has seen and witnessed herself. The last quarter of the book is personal messages from people that have had miracles and all types of experiences in the mikveh. Women, all types of women, Bnot Israel, that have volunteered to share their stories. Also part of this book. All of it is in beautiful color, written, nice format with nikud. Mamash, beautiful. Now, we don't have that many, but surely we're more than happy to give them out to everybody. I only have a couple of thousand here, so that I got delivery of today. Again, anyone that wants to do this mitzvah, give them out, please do. Anyone that wants to help us pay for it, by all means, you're also welcome to. It's an extraordinary mitzvah. To be honest with you, if I was a woman, I'd start going to the mikveh simply after reading this book. Why? It's just so beautiful. And we're not talking about just everything is if you do it, then you'll get a lot of money and everything is great. She says everything. She says the halachot, she says the reward, the punishment, mamash, beautiful work. And Bezrat Hashem, look forward to actually doing this in English. Bezrat Hashem. That's one. Second thing is our illustrious kollel in Yerushalayim. For all of you amazing investors, geniuses, you're geniuses. You guys that are, and ladies that are investing in our kollel to get yourself a week or 2 weeks or 3 weeks or a month of time of an avrech learning for you, you're simply a genius. Why? You already got a book in your hands. You already have a book in your hands. Our kollel already published its first kuntres, its first book. Each one of the avrechim wrote a fantastic ma'amar in here. It also includes Rabbi Ephraim, includes myself. It's in Hebrew, came out beautiful, nice cover, nice text. And also in it, there are, I believe it's seven or 10 letters from Rav Ovadia Yosef that have never been published. The Baruch Hashem we got, and these are letters that are seeing the light of day for the first time. From Rav Ovadia that he wrote to different chachamim, to different people. People that are Talmidei Chachamim, simply, they hear this, they salivate, and they want it. Why? This is one of those things where you want to see how the Chachamim operated their life. So you see the letters in their true format, in color, with the handwriting from Rav Ovadia. That's in the beginning of this kuntres, and then the rest of the kuntres is a different write-ups by our genius Avrechim, and also it included me. What could I say? I have to throw my name in there. And perhaps write the legends of the Torah world, Baruch Hashem. So with that being said, again, we have some of those for anybody that has a yeshiva, kollel, people that are Talmidei Chachamim, wants to get himself a few of these copies. By all means, contact us. We'll send them to you. Only U.S. Don't ask me to send it to some different country because simply just the shipping alone is too expensive. So it doesn't make that much sense. And we're going to have it available for free for anybody that wants to print it themselves or just read it themselves. You'll have it on our website very soon too, Bezrat Hashem. So with all of that being said, Baruch Hashem, lots of good news, lots of updates. We are going to continue learning from the Gaon Mivilna, of how to be a Jew. How to operate, how to live our life. One of the greatest problems that each and every single one of us face on a day-to-day basis is our preparation for Shabbat. Why our preparation for Shabbat is a difficulty? Because we know that even if we'll have good things to say during the whole week, we'll have divrei Torah to say during the whole week, we'll have good thoughts during the whole week, we'll say thank you the whole week. We'll let things go during the whole week. Something happens in almost every household. That doesn't prepare right, where Shabbat comes in, and all of a sudden you're angry about everything. Everything breaks all of a sudden. All of a sudden you forgot how to eat. Everything spills on your brand new shirt. Everything breaks. Mess. People want to argue. People this. What happened? It's almost like you have Shulchan Shabbat and the Satan has a seat. Hashem Yishmor v'Yatzil. So there's a lot of problems that people have mainly on Shabbat. Mainly on Shabbat. And we should know that to have a sin made on Shabbat is much worse than to make that very same sin during the week. How much? The Gemara says, Rabotai Yekarim, Hashem Yishmor. Hashem Yishmor. May we all do tshuva for this. Starting with myself. Where a person gets mad. Person gets mad, it's not good. Person gets angry, it's not good. Person exerts that anger, terrible. Takes something, throws it and breaks it, Shem Yishmo. Why? The Gemara says in Masechet Shabbat, someone that gets angry should be viewed like he's an idol worshiper. And if he acts out on his anger, and he breaks something, and he rips something, oh no, he should be viewed as someone that brought a sacrifice to the Satan himself. Hashem Yishmo. Nightmare. And if that's not bad enough, Rabotai Karim, the Zohar Kadosh says, someone that gets angry on Shabbat could be viewed as a mechalel Shabbat. Why? Because while he gets angry, his neshama burns. His neshama is creating fire, and it's like, not exactly, but it's like he lit fire. It's like he lit fire on Shabbat. May Hashem have mercy on us for any time that we ever got angry. Needless to say that we got angry and lost control on Shabbat. How many people contact me and tell me, I don't understand, Rabbi. I have shlom bayit the whole week. I love my kids all week. Everything is great the whole week. Come Shabbat, nightmare. Fight, argue, this, that, ooh, ah, ee, eh. I don't even want Shabbat to exist anymore. Chas v'shalom. That's what happens a lot of times. Why? Sometimes we don't prepare ourselves mentally, spiritually, and we lose ourselves. And we need to understand that Shabbat is a big deal. Shabbat is a big deal. So much so that anyone that kept Shabbat while they were alive, if they made other averot, they made other sins, and they have to go to Gehenom, HaKadosh Baruch Hu turns off the fire, gets them out of Gehenom for Shabbat. Meaning they get peace at least once a week. Even though they made other averot, other sins that get them to Gehenom, Shabbat, because you kept it, the fire is off, except if the person did not keep Shabbat. If the person that desecrated Shabbat, he even gets punished on Shabbat, needless to say. And if the person got angry on Shabbat, lit fire on Shabbat, it's like a mechalel Shabbat. So that's why we need to do as much tshuva as possible now, today. Today we need to do tshuva. Before Rosh Hashanah we need to do tshuva. Say, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, I'm sorry. I'm sorry for not having enough emunah in you. I'm sorry for having so much arrogance that I thought that I run the world. I'm sorry for having so much audacity to think that I can do whatever I want. I'm sorry for ever expressing the anger like an animal. I'm sorry. 1.5 million times before Rosh Hashanah, Rabotai. Before Rosh Hashanah. Why? Rosh Hashanah is when HaKadosh Baruch Hu looks at the cheshbon and says, okay, let's see, what kind of cheshbon, what kind of account does Reuven have here? What kind of account does he have? And when am I going to make him pay the bill? Shem Yishmo. So here the Gaon Vilna, after telling us all the important things about raising kids, all the important things about knowing how to give chinuch to the boys, chinuch to the girls, and then last week teaching us of how to determine whether a woman is a good woman or not, whether she's a good candidate to marry or not, whether we're stuck with a bad woman or we're with a good woman and we just don't know how to appreciate it, whether our marriage is a problem or we are the problem. And I can tell you from experience with people, lots and lots of shlom bayit issues, it's not the marriage is the problem, the people are the problem, she is the problem, he is the problem. Too much arrogance, too much stuffiness, too much stinginess. He's cheap. She's doesn't take care of herself. He walks around like a garbage pail. She is angry about everything. He is nasty, cares less about everything other than himself. He's this, she's that, and they still want shlom bayit. Not reality. And Baruch Hashem, after giving people a lot of guidance, all for free, Baruch Hashem, what happens in the end? Baruch Hashem, if they do what Torah says, not what I say, what Torah says, they have shlom bayit. They have shlom bayit. I have even people that literally been married for 20 years, but don't know how to say I love you to each other. It's mamash a miracle they survived 20 years. I have people, 20 years they're married, they don't know how to say I love you to each other. Unbelievable. They're going to say I love you to a ma'adan, to a yogurt, before they say I love you to each other sometimes. They don't know how to say I love you. Why? Arrogance. She doesn't want to show him really what she feels. He doesn't want to show what she feels. Before you know it, they forgot how they feel. They don't know how to love each other. They don't know how to talk to each other. They don't know how to treat each other. Shem Shmo. So, the Gaon Vilna told us, you have to know, there's a Isha Tova, there's a Isha Ra'ah. There's a good woman, there's a bad woman. If you have a bad woman, you have to learn how to deal with it. How to overcome this obstacle. And if it's not possible, then you have to get a divorce. It's mitzvah to get a divorce from such a woman. But if you have a Isha Tova, you have to do everything and anything possible to make sure that you are also Tov. That you're also good to her. You treat her good. You're generous with her. You're patient with her. And you do everything possible to appreciate her. A lot of times we forget. We forget to appreciate the people that are most important to us. We forget to hug our kids and say, I love your mom just because of you. Why? I thought you loved me. Yeah, I love you too. But I love your mom just because I look at you. Why? I see how much your mom loves me because she gave me a kid. She loves me so much she wanted to replicate me. That's what a child is. A child comes, for anyone that understands what a child is, Bichlal. What is a child? A child is one of the greatest expressions of love that you could ever have. A woman that doesn't want to have kids with you, a man that doesn't want to have kids with you, is a man that doesn't love you, loves himself. Like Er ve'Onan, the sons of Yehuda, they loved themselves. They wanted to keep Tamar beautiful. They didn't want to replicate her. Why? Because they didn't love her. They love themselves. People that don't want to have kids, they don't love their spouse. They love themselves. One of the greatest expressions of love is to have a child, and more children. Why? Because you love your husband, you love your wife so much, you want another one. You want a replication, a little mini version of it. That's love, Rabotai. That's why you see religious families have so much kids. It's not because of just boo. It's because of so much love they have for each other. They want more of each other. That's love. We see the secular couples in the world today, they have, what do they have? 1.5 kids and a dog. What do they have? They barely have a child. After, one child is 18, the next one is 1. What happened for 17 years? You something wrong? No, we took a break. Oh, so who's the one you're all going to play with? Who's he going to play with? He's going to play with his toys? He's not going to have any siblings? The greatest gift you can give your child is a sibling. And the more of them, the better. But unfortunately, people don't know what love is. They only know what lust is. They don't know what appreciation is. They only know how to take. And unfortunately, unless you have Torah to instruct you in your life, simply put, you are in jeopardy. You're in jeopardy of living a miserable life, an empty life, a life with no purpose, and unfortunately, you are a danger to society. You're a danger to society. Why? Because you don't see anything other than yourself. So the Gaon Vilna told us that when we have a good spouse, we have to do everything possible to show appreciation. The same thing goes with other things, of course. You have a good job, show appreciation to your boss that he's given you a job. Say thank you. It's good manners to say thank you. Why? Should I say thank you once a year when he gives me a bonus? No, you should say thank you every time you get a paycheck. I only met one person in my life that says thank you every time I give him a paycheck. Unbelievable. I personally don't look for thank yous. I actually kind of feel uncomfortable. But there's one person, and he knows exactly who he is. Every single time I paid him, he makes a whole big deal of thank you. You saved my life. I appreciate it. Why? You worked. If anything, you deserve more. Nothing. Thank you. Other people say thank you once in a while also. But there's one person consistently. For years he's with me. And for years he says thank you every 2 weeks. And there's nothing better than such a person. Why? You want to pay that person. You want to pay a person like this. You want to work with a person like this. Why? You know he appreciates it. Most people, they should thank me for working for them. Everybody thinks that they're irreplaceable. Everybody thinks that they should be thanked. Everybody thinks that they're indisposable. And they think that their boss should thank them all the time. They think that their colleagues should thank them all the time. And that's a very problematic person. Although you may deserve thanks for certain things that you do, don't think for a moment that it's only a one-side street. If you're not appreciative of the people around you, people will not appreciate you. People will not appreciate you. And the reality is, a person needs to be able to say thank you even to a clerk that gives him his food in a bag at the supermarket. That's what the Chafetz Chaim says. You should be able to say thank you with 100% kavanah to the clerk that's giving you the food, to put your food in a bag, or just simply gives you a receipt. Here's the bill, sir. $1,000 for this Shabbos. Here you go, sir. Okay, well, you want to pay with a credit card or with a check or with cash? Chafetz Chaim says that person that gave you the bill, say thank you to them. Why? If it wasn't for them, you wouldn't eat. A person doesn't understand how to say thank you is a very, very sad and miserable person. Very, very sad and miserable person. Why? That person does not understand that the world has other people other than themselves. So needless to say, if you have to say thank you to a clerk giving you a food, you have to say thank you to your boss that gives you a paycheck, you have to say thank you to even somebody that's allowing you to pass in the street, you have to say thank you, be grateful for. Needless to say, you have to say thank you to your spouse for giving you children. Thank your spouse for even being married with you. Thank your spouse for making you food. Thank your spouse for anything. For anything. Just look for opportunities. And the more you thank your spouse, guess what? The more appreciative your spouse will be of you. Meaning, the less you think about yourself, the more you'll feel it. You're more significant you'll feel in the world. The less you, the less me, the more you. That's the attitude that a person should have. That's the attitude that a person should have. Now, how does this connect with Shabbat and everything else? Next part of the letter, Yishtabach Shimo. Next part of the letter, the Gaon Mivilna writes, very serious set of instructions following the footsteps of the Ramban, that is about 600 years before him, or the Ramchal, Rabbi Chaim Moshe Luzzatto, that preceded him by a little over a generation, where the Gaon Mivilna says, read this letter, ותקראי את האיגרת הזאת בכל שבוע, ובפרט בשבת קודם האכילה ובתוך הסעודה, שלא ידברו דברים בטלים חס ושלום, וכל שכן חס ושלום בלשון הרע וכיוצא בהם. He says, read this letter every week, and specifically on Shabbat, before and during the meal, so as not to speak idle words, waste of time words, and chas v'shalom, God forbid, all the more so, not to speak lashon hara, or the like, God forbid. So here, the Gaon Mivilna gives relatively simple instructions to people that obviously know all of this. But not only that, he's following the footsteps of the Ramchal. If anyone that read the Mesilat Yesharim, the famous Sefer by the Ramchal, Mesilat Yesharim, you see it in the intro, the preface of the letter, introduction writings by the author to this extraordinary Sefer that has exact details of how a person can elevate themselves from being simply an animal to having prophecy. That's if a person not just reads, but follows the footsteps described by the Ramchal to the T, they can get to a point of literally turning themselves from their animalistic self to obviously righteousness, but even more so, getting to a level of Ruach HaKodesh and even prophecy. Even prophecy, Rabotai. That's how high a person can get if they follow obviously all those footsteps. But in the beginning of that book, the Ramchal famously writes, I'm not here to bring anything new. I'm only here to remind you of what you already know, but perhaps have neglected because they're such simple things. They're not what the yeshiva world called lamdut, meaning it's not overly complicated issues, even though in reality some of the things that he writes, many of the things that he writes, surely were written with Ruach HaKodesh because of the genius behind them and just could not be from a simple human being. But the Ramchal writes that he's here to remind us of things that perhaps you already know. And even if he 100% meant it, which I believe he did, obviously, he's not a liar. And this was read by people that already knew it. Needless to say, the Ramchal says you still have to read this book and repeat. And the same thing, the Ramban, Nachmanides, 500 years before them, writes in the Iggeret HaGra to his son that to read this letter on a weekly basis and even on a daily basis. Why read the same letter over and over again? Because obviously the Chachamim understand that they didn't just put words together to tell you about the weather. They didn't put these words together just to make you feel good about yourself and nothing will change. But rather they put these words together to remind you of certain things, to teach you certain things, to bring light to certain things that naturally you and everybody else do not keep the light on these things. Where there are benefits to reading this type of advice that they're writing in these letters or these books that are not only self-evident that these are benefits in this letter, whether it's the Iggeret HaGra, the Mesilat Yesharim, or it's the Iggeret HaRamban, the advice that we've heard already throughout the last 15 shiurim of this series, is obvious that it's all beneficial. Anyone that listens to actually what's being said sees that it's clear benefit to apply this to our life. Whether it's applying 1% or 100% of it, surely this will benefit my life. It's not a big secret. Anyone that listens to it and is more focused on learning Torah, learning to do something to change their life, rather than coming to the platform just to insult, just to make people confused, just to get people to not pay attention, someone that's coming to learn will surely learn and benefit from it. And the lessons are self-evident, they're obvious, they're clear, that they're beneficial. Reviewing it, the Chachamim say, reviewing it consistently will add to that benefit even more so. Even more so. Because it will force you to remind yourself of these matters, because naturally you disregard these issues, you forget these issues. It's like someone either has a certain place in their building or their house that they simply don't pay attention to that section of the house, or they leave the light on all the time, or they leave the light off all the time, and they forget sometimes what's even in there. Now if it's you forget what's in one of the rooms in your house, it's not necessarily the end of the world. But if you forget one of the things in your life, one of the things that's in your mind, one of the things that's in your heart, you simply disregard it, could be a very big deal. Why? Well, maybe you forgot that you're supposed to say thank you to your wife for simply being born. Maybe you forgot for saying thank you to your husband for going to learn Torah today for a couple of hours. Maybe you forgot that you're supposed to say thank you to your wife or your husband that's helping bring food on the table, either through prayer or through work or a combination thereof. Maybe you forgot. Maybe you forgot. Maybe you forgot. This is easy to forget. Why? One of the jobs of the Yetzer Hara is to make you forget the most important things. And that's why sometimes a woman can be married to a man for 20 years and not hear him say, I love you, for 19 out of the 20 years. And when you ask the guy, hey, you don't want to be married? No, what are you talking about? My wife's great. You love your wife? Of course I love my wife. What do you mean? I love my wife. She gave me kids. All of a sudden he gives you a whole report of all the things that She does fail. Let me ask you, Steve. You just gave me a essay and a half about all the great things that your wife gave you, this, that. So obviously you're aware of all the good things that she does. You ever tell her any of this stuff? That you appreciate this and that and this and that, like you just told me? No, she knows. Oh, she knows? So that's, you assume that she knows, and therefore she doesn't need to hear it. Instead of taking a Chatan class to teach you just some of the things about how to perform the act with your wife, you should have also taken a marriage class. Not just a Chatan class, a marriage class of learning how to be a human. When that human is also responsible for another human, like a spouse. Why? Because whether she knows or not, that doesn't make a difference. You have to remind her. You have to remind yourself by constantly saying thank you, by constantly showing appreciation. And if you don't show appreciation, you don't show love, Rabotai Karim, the other person could be misled to believe that you don't love them, that you don't appreciate them. And many times divorces happen as a result of lack of appreciation. Lack of appreciation. Even though the person does appreciate it. And he never knew that she doesn't know. He never knew. But by the time he knew, it was already too late. Why? Because she found somebody else that appreciates her. It's very important for a person to know that you can never assume that the other person knows. Needless to say, the Ramchal, the Ramban, the Gaon Vilna, and others say that the simplest things are sometimes the most important things. Hence the reason why you need to review them over and over and over again, because the more important it is, the harder the Satan will work to make you forget them, to make you disregard them, to make you minimize them. Why do you think that there is almost nobody out there speaking against the issues of, let's say, I don't know, Ahavat Israel, loving Am Israel, love each other? No one really speaks against it. People always say you should love Am Israel, love each other, be kind to each other, and so on. You're never really going to see people saying, listen, Lashon Hara, it's not really such a big deal. You're not really going to see that. Why? Even the people that say Lashon Hara say you shouldn't say Lashon Hara. You're not going to see people speak against it. Anyone out there say, you know what, Shalom Bayit, yeah, disregard it, just do whatever you want. You're never really going to see that. You're going to see people say, no, Shalom Bayit is important, you should have happy marriage and so on. You're never going to see people speak against it. But, Genom, punishment, constant insults, constant distortions, constant different types of speaking and writing against the whole concept of punishment. Why? Because it is one of the most, if not the most fundamental and most important lesson in Judaism and in life in general, even if you're not Jewish. To know that there is a reward and punishment gives everything a value, gives everything a meaning. When there is no reward and punishment, there is no value, there is no meaning. You are no different than simply some animal in the zoo that was just let out into an open crowd after being starved for a week. Nothing good's going to come out of that meeting. When a person does not understand that there is a reward and there's a punishment, and the reward is in connection to the effort. The more you try, the more your reward is going to be. Same concept with your punishment. The more sins a person makes, and the more effort they exert in making those sins, the heavier the punishment is going to be. And you will find more lectures discussing things that are antithetical to the Torah, things that speak against punishments, things that distort punishment, things that even say there is no punishment. Then you'll find legitimate lectures discussing actual punishment. Why? Because the Satan knows that if he can get you to disregard punishment, he has you in his hands. Simple. if he can get you to not take punishment into account on a regular basis, he has you in his hands like putty, and he can play with you however he wants, whenever he wants. And he's going to choose wisely when to play with you. He won't play with you all the time. He'll do it when it matters most. One way, on Shabbat. Rest of the week, you and your wife love each other. Rest of the week, you get along with everybody. Rest of the week, even a shofar blast in your face is not going to make you mad. Somebody blowing a shofar right in your face to wake you up in the morning, not going to make you mad. Yetzer Hara says, no. He's not going to get mad for that. He's not going to get mad for that. He's not going to get mad for nothing. He doesn't get mad. He's like an angel. Doesn't have a Yetzer Hara all of a sudden. Somebody steals money from you. Yeah, okay, what can you do? Somebody embarrasses you publicly. Baruch Hashem. Hashem knows that I deserve to get embarrassed. I don't know why I deserve to get embarrassed, but Hashem knows, and he takes it like a champ. Comes Shabbat, all of a sudden, can't believe that thing fell. What? Spoon? Yeah. Okay, it's just a spoon. Yeah, but look, the sauce is on the floor. No, come on, I don't want to eat. All of a sudden, he's like a gremlin. All of a sudden, he's like some troll. All of a sudden, she turns into some monster. What happened? All week, you're like Malach Hashem. You're a little angel walking among men, floating with your kisui rosh. It's like, is she from this world? Or is she from a different world? Look how beautiful. Look at the aura. Look at the streams of Kedusha that follow her. Doesn't ever get mad. Forgives everybody. Doesn't matter how much they insult her and how much they this and how much they that. She's friends with everyone. Always smiles. Comes Shabbat, Hashem Yishmor V'Yatzil. All of a sudden, the kids simply don't hear a normal voice anymore. She cannot stop screaming at them. She cannot stop yelling and screaming. And what happened? Satan says, when you don't understand completely what is the punishment, what is the cause for doing bad things, I'm going to come to you whenever I want. And I'm not just because I can come to you whenever I want. When I'm going to come. When I'm going to show up at your house. When it matters the most. When it matters the most. This is why there are strange but yet true stories of people that literally committed murder on Yom Kippur. On Yom Kippur. One of the Chachamim in Eretz Yisrael from the previous generation, he used to go to the jails and visit different Jewish people that are in the jails. And once he saw a completely Haredi person, Hasid, learning all day. He's in jail. Sentence, 25 years to life. What happened? Murder. Murder. How? Who? What? When? He murdered his best friend on Yom Kippur. The Rav comes to visit him, and after a few moments, the Chassid says to the Rav, I know you're probably thinking, how did it happen? How did I get myself to where I am? And I can tell you that on that day, my best friend and I, we were chavruta, we learned, we did everything together. And after we finished the first section of the prayers in the morning on Yom Kippur, there was a break for 2 hours before the next set of prayers comes. So we figured, you know what, let's just go to the house and relax for a little bit and get ready for the next set of prayers. So we went to the house, and neither one of us really wanted to go to sleep. So we started talking. Instead of talking Divrei Torah, we started talking nonsense. Before you know it, we found ourselves in an argument, and he said something that really crossed the line. I got so angry, I got up, I went into my room, I opened the safe, I took the gun out, I came out and I shot him. Now you're asking me how, after I learned Torah, after I did tshuva, after became a chassid and everything, and him too, and we're praying together, we're learning together, how do I go and murder my best friend on Yom Kippur? He says, Kavod Arav, the Gemara says, when a person gets angry and allows his anger to be expressed, Kol mine gehenom sholtim bo, all types of gehenom take control over him, it's 100% emet. The moment I get angry because I allowed myself to express that anger, to lose control, I lost all control. I lost all concept of reality. I remember it all happening, but I simply lost control. And a person could literally lose control in the worst possible moments. Now, of course, this wasn't a one-time thing. This person obviously lost control other times and didn't think much of it, didn't think it's a big deal. And therefore, the Yetzer Hara said, oh, you don't think it's a big deal to get angry? You don't think it's a big deal to work on your midot? You don't think it's a big deal? Punishment? Okay, no problem. I'll leave you alone for a little while. I'm going to come to you when it really matters. And Hashem Yishmor, he came to him when it really matters. Person needs to understand that the reason why there are so many fakers out there speaking against reward and punishment, especially speaking against punishment, distorting it, minimizing it, using euphemisms to make it seem as if it's nothing, is because it is the most important. It is the most important. It is the most important tool you have to navigate your choices. To navigate your choices, when you know that there's a very expensive price to pay for X, Y, Z, you now have the ability to decide. You have now the ability to decide with all the information in your hands. But when you don't know the price, you don't have the ability to truly decide in an appropriate way. You cannot make an educated decision. And unfortunately, that means that you're more times than not going to make a mistake. Nobody that knows and believes that a Mechalel Shabbat is going to fry in Gehenom for eternity still drives on Shabbat. No one that believes and knows that information. Most people don't know. And the people that have heard it but still desecrate Shabbat, they simply don't believe it. Why? They didn't hear it enough to the point where they understood the message. Their neshama understood, their inner Wi-Fi connected and paired with the emet, and never did. They heard it superficially, heard it as a punishment, but they didn't really connect. They didn't pair their neshama with the emet. And it's the reason why they still desecrate Shabbat. And you will see, sometimes I've met people that go to synagogue 25 years driving on Shabbat. 25 years they go to synagogue driving on Shabbat, never thinking for a moment there's anything wrong with it. And when I tell them, yeah, you know you're not allowed to drive on Shabbat, they say, yeah, maybe if I was the rabbi, but I'm just a regular person. Like, they don't even think it's much of a big deal. Most people are simply completely unaware. You start telling them about punishments, they look at you confused. They're like, wait, you mean Jews believe in punishment? You mean Jews believe in Gehenna, in hell? Isn't that a Christian belief? No, it's not a Christian belief. Everything the Christians have, they stole from the Jews. Gehenom is very much a fundamental part of Judaism. Anyone who does not believe in Gehenom does not believe in a Torah. Simple. You do not believe in a just God. But you'll see countless people, and usually the more famous, the more dangerous they are to society, because when they say that there's no punishment or they minimize punishment, their venom works more effective than 1,000 lectures that say that punishment is real. Why? Because people, unfortunately, don't have their guards up and they immediately pair their neshama with this falsehood. And to uproot it is very difficult. Very difficult. I can tell you one thing that I've seen with my own eyes that is unbelievable. Unbelievable example of what I'm saying to you. There is one person that was introduced to my lectures when someone was making fun of me. How? somebody started some type of WhatsApp group. And in this WhatsApp group, they like to make fun of me. I'm not sure if they also made fun of other people, and other people have the privilege of being made fun of also over there. But I know that they make fun of me. How do I know? They decided to add me to the group. Not by asking me, simply somebody had my phone number, they added me to the group, and they started bashing me, saying all types of things, especially when I spoke against the Manis Friedman and all of these other heretics, and they had a blast. And for me, I like to see this stuff. I like to see what crazy people say, so I could maybe be like Shlomo HaMelech one day and know the crazy people language. You know, Shlomo HaMelech, he knew the language of the birds, the language of the plants, the language of babies, and he also knew the language of crazy people. So sometimes I like to pay attention to what the crazy people say. Maybe I'll be able to help them one day. So anyway, so I am in this group, and then, I don't pay attention to this stuff. After, a bunch of hours that I'm in this group, I start looking at the post, and I see all these different people. This one's making fun, this one's making fun, And then there's one guy that's in the group. He says, I don't know, I saw the video you guys posted, and that everybody's making fun of it. I like this guy. Meaning he's referring to me. He said, I like this guy. I don't know, it makes sense to me what he says. And everybody starts bashing him. You don't know what you're talking about. And they're trying to remove him. This guy was already in the group. He was having a blast making fun initially. But then he actually saw the video that they're all making fun of. And he said, you know what? Wow. It's actually not as bad as you guys say. In fact, I like it. And before you know it, he starts watching some of my other videos. Now, initially, when he started asking me some personal questions, when he sent me messages and so on, the most difficult thing for him to understand and comprehend is the whole concept of punishment. It was hard for him to understand it. What do you mean? Isn't that Christian belief? Isn't that, why does all these rabbis not talk about it? If this is fundamental, And it literally took a second for him to believe the falsehood that other people say, that there's no punishment, that it's a Christian concept, that it's, and so on and so forth. But to actually believe the truth, it took, I would say, at least 3 or 4 solid lectures that provided sources and were given with siyata dishmaya for this person to understand completely punishment is not only real, but it's a fundamental, necessary belief for you to be a righteous Jew or a righteous human being altogether. And Baruch Hashem, this person became a very, very avid watcher of our lectures. But as you can see, this person was a Jew, a religious Jew, his whole life religious. But to believe to the falsehood, his neshama paired with it instantly. Why? It makes sure. The Yetzer Hara makes sure he's always prepared. When the truth came, it doesn't pair with your neshama right away. Why? If you didn't prepare yourself to be a good vessel for truth, it takes a little while, it takes a little effort to break that klipa. That a person has. Now, the Gemara in Masechet Gitin, page 52b, says a story that Rabbi Meir Baal HaNes had neighbors. And these neighbors always had arguments happening on Shabbat. Always. Every Shabbat, Rabbi Meir and his wife Bruya are listening to this next door neighbors argue, yell, scream, ta. So one day, Rabbi Meir Baal HaNes, the Gadol v'Tahor, that literally was able to see the words of the Torah and simply and without a scroll, something that is incomprehensible to us. The big Talmid Chacham, the big miracle worker, the big tzaddik that halacha is like him, Rabbi Meir Baal HaNes decides, okay, we're going to go and invite ourselves to be guests in their house. So, of course, the tzaddikah wife that he has goes along. Can we come to you guys for Shabbat? Kavod the Rav wants to come by us for Shabbat? we want to come to you guys for Shabbat. You guys have room for us? Yeah, of course. Biggest rabbi in the world wants to come to you for Shabbat. You say no. All of a sudden, Rabbi Meir Baal Haness is a guest in the house for Shabbat. The guest in the couple that constantly arguing every Shabbat, he's a guest. How does the Shabbat go? No arguing. Why? Rabbi Meir Baal Haness is at your house. You're going to argue? Rabbi Meir Baal Haness is in your house. You should be celebrating and say, I probably have a share in the world to come just because I hosted Rabbi Meir. A person should be celebrating. Imagine having Rav Ovadia, Rav Eliashiv, Rav Kanievsky Sheikhye in your house for Shabbat. Imagine such a thing. And not only that, he invited himself. Well, who's better than you? To host tzaddikim? But that's why the Mishnah in Avot says, even if you make your house, you're supposed to make your house a house of scholars. You always have to have scholars in your house, Talmidei Chachamim in your house. But just because you have a lot of scholars in your house, you have a shiur in your house every week, you have people coming to learn in your house, and so on, don't get used to these scholars and thereby end up losing respect for them. Why? Because when they bite, their bite is very painful. Not that the scholar, chas v'shalom, is going to take revenge, but rather, if you become very familiar with the scholar and you start realizing that he's also a human being, and you treat him like he's just like you. He puts his pants on one leg at a time, you put your pants on one leg at a time. He eats, you eat. He bathes, you bathe. So you figure, he's just like me. So you start treating him like he's an average person, like he's just like you, and you start talking to him like he's one of your buddies. You start treating him like one of your buddies, and instead of saying Kavod Arav, you say, "What's up, man?" And you start treating him like he's just an average Joe. You have yourself a little bit of a problem. If he tells you Divrei Torah, he says you should do this, whatever. Listen, you said it, but I'm sure I can find somebody else to say something else. Start mistreating the Chacham, you have a problem. Why? Because HaKadosh Baruch Hu doesn't like when people disrespect his Chachamim, and it can be a very painful bite. So that's why it's very important that even if you make your house a house of Chachamim, never get used to them. Always remember that your goal is to be like the sand under their feet. That's the goal in essence. So now, Rabbi Meir Baal Haness comes to your house. It's the greatest thing in the world. Of course you're not going to fight. Following week, on on Friday afternoon, Rabbi Meir comes to his neighbor. Kavod Arav, how are you? Listen, we enjoyed ourselves at your house so much last week. We're wondering, maybe if you mind hosting us again for Shabbat. The woman thought that she just won the lotto twice. Of course, Kavod Arav, come, Baruch haba. You can live here if you want, not just once. The whole week can be here. No, we don't need a week. We live in a house, Baruch Hashem, we have a house. But we'll come for you for Shabbat, we enjoyed ourselves. Rabbi Meir and Abuya, perhaps even their kids, while they were still alive, all come for Shabbat. This family that usually fights every week. And guess what? The whole Shabbat, Divrei Torah, Kedusha, no one's fighting. Baruch Hashem, Motzei Shabbat, the husband and the wife are happy. Look at that, what merit we have. Hashem must really love us. He sent us the Gedol Ador to our house. It's amazing. And the Gemara says, third week, Rabbi Meir Baal Haness, hi, Iggeret, how are you? Yes. Listen, the food that you're serving on Shabbat is so delicious. My wife and I say we have to try it one more time. Would you mind hosting us for Shabbat? A third time, the woman almost passed out. She almost passed out. Ishtabach Shimo, it's like Moshe Rabbeinu coming to my house 3 times. Well, of course, Kavod Arav, come. We already have a whole section of the house reserved for you. He comes there for Shabbat, the whole family's there for Shabbat, Ishtabach Shimo, Divrei Torah, everything is good, no one's fighting. And guess what happened after that? No more fighting in that house. Shlom Bayit became a permanent fixture in the house, even when Rabbi Meir Baal Haness and his family did not come to visit. Comes the Ben Yoyada and says, how come Rabbi Meir Baal Haness had to come there 3 times. Why didn't he just go there 1 time? To teach us that the trait of anger creates 3 levels of klipa. 3 levels of klipa in the neshama. When a person is angry, he creates 3 levels of klipa on him when it's on Shabbat especially. 3 levels of klipa called nachash, saraf, and akan. Rashet tevot, ashan, smoke. And Rabbi Meir Baal HaNes had to break this klipa, this impurity that these people had on their neshama in order to get back to a normal Shabbat. So each week he broke one of their klipot because they passed the test. They heard Torah the whole Shabbat. No fighting. 1 shell broke. The second week, 2nd shell. 3rd week, 3rd shell. That's it. Now they go back to a wonderful life full of good Shabbats. Ishtabach Shimo. That's it. Finished. Finished. I did my job. So here we see that a Talmid Chacham will sometimes do things that completely don't make sense to the average person, but needless to say, he knows. Now, the Gaon Mivilna brings evidence that to repeat basic teachings is not only necessary, but it's required. It's not only important, but it's required in order for you to really be able to apply these lessons to your life. And he says, this whole letter that's full of musar, make sure to read it regularly, specifically on Shabbat, and specifically before and during the meal. Why before and during the meal? Why not at any other time? Why not, during the afternoon, everybody's sleeping, you could just read it by yourself. He says, because when you eat, it's typically your most comfortable moment. You're most comfortable. Whoever is next to you, if they want to hear what's on your mind, usually that's when it's going to be. When you're about to eat, that's when you're most comfortable. That's when people let loose. And unfortunately, most people let loose too much. They start telling you all types of things. And all types of things that includes conversations about other people. Oh, did you see what she's wearing? You see how much he made? You see where they went? You see what they did? You see what she said? You see what he said? Tu. And before you know it, they start talking idle talk. And on Shabbat, it's forbidden to talk idle talk. Talk about nonsense, technically you should never do it. But to do it on Shabbat, some sages say, where they use the source in from the book of Isaiah, it's considered Chilul Shabbat. That to talk idle talk on Shabbat is considered Chilul Shabbat according to some sages. So this is important. It's also in the Gemara Masechet Shabbat. That the reason why it says Dabir Davar in the book of Isaiah that we mention in Kiddush is that you have to make sure that what you speak is not the Davar, is not the things that you're saying during the week. During Shabbat, you should say Divrei Torah. Needless to say, the Gaon Mivilna says that by this reading of this letter is not only going to replace any type of idle talk that you would have said otherwise, because obviously people can't just sit there mute. People have to hear themselves talk. They have to hear each other talk. They talk. People are, social. Hence the reason why there's an entire multi-trillion-dollar industry called social media. People like to socialize. You tell people, listen, Rabbi Meir Baal HaNes was a big tzaddik. He was one of the 6 students that Rabbi Akiva started with. One of the others was Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai. Who's Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai? He's the one that went to the cave hiding from the enemy for 13 years. Did he do it alone? No, actually his son was with him and a few angels. Oh, thank God he wasn't alone. Wait, that's what you got out of the whole story? That Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai learned an enormous amount of Torah. all types of angels came down. Moshe Rabbeinu's neshama came down. Eliyahu Navi came down. We're teaching them Torah, him and his son. They were eating carobs for 13 years and drinking water. That's how they survived. And the whole story, all you got is, thank God he didn't do it alone. That's what you got. Why? There's something else there? Usually most people get something else out of the story, but I guess for you it's important to socialize, isn't it? Yeah, of course. How can you live without socializing, people think. Well, that's right. Some people need to socialize. Most people need to socialize. And it's allowed to socialize in a kosher way. And unfortunately, sometimes people use their Shabbat table as the place and the moment to socialize, and it's forbidden to do such things if that socializing is not Torah talk. The Admor Migul once had a family come to him, crying to the Rebbe. So, Kavod Harav, our father has already been in and out of surgeries for many years. And until this day, despite the doctors cutting him up like he's some piece of meat, not a single solution came from all those surgeries. And in fact, the doctor today said he doesn't even have a diagnosis. He doesn't even know what's wrong with him. Yeah, but we did 10, 15 surgeries already. Yeah, I know you did 10, 15 surgeries. That's because we knew it's this, we knew it's that. But every time we thought it's this, it ended up being that. And every time we thought it's that and we got to that, it ended up being this. And truth be told, we have no idea what's going on. We have no idea what's going on. Kavod Harav, they just told my father that he has to get another surgery because he has one of those infections, one of those problems, one of those pains. Please, Rebbe, please, bless us, bless my father, that he go through the surgery, and it's the last one. That Admor Migul, clearly Beruach HaKodesh, looks at the family and says, does your father cut people up, perform surgeries on other people? Family is confused. So, what do you? No, our father is the patient. He's not the doctor. He says, no, that's not what I'm saying. Does your father, and the rest of you, do you guys like to talk about people? So the family's like, yeah, of course, Rabbi, but we only do it on Shabbat. We only do it on Shabbat after everybody ate and a few songs and everything, and then everybody brings their report for the week. Who did this? Who did that? That Admor Migul says to them, tell your Abba to stop performing surgeries on other people's lives, and HaKadosh Baruch Hu will stop operating and doing surgeries on him. The family came for a blessing. For a moment they thought they got a curse, but in reality they knew that what the Admor Migul said was 100% emet. While they forgot that Lashon Hara applies to them, while they forgot that Shabbat is not a time for idle talk, needless to say, it's not a time for you to talk about other people, they never connected that all of the surgeries that the father of the family had to have over so many years had anything to do with their custom of talking about people in a community. They never thought that one thing had to do with the other. But, Baruch Hashem, they listened to the advice. Miraculously, the father recovered to the point where he did not have to have that surgery or any other surgery ever again. No diagnosis. Yes, diagnosis. There was no diagnosis from the doctors, but there was yes a diagnosis from the Admor Migul. Your surgeries, your untreatable disease, it's HaKadosh Baruch Hu performing the same measure for measure punishment that he will and he does on everybody else, which is you perform surgeries on others or perform surgeries on you, Hashem Yishmor. Some of us merit to have those surgeries in this world, and unfortunately some of us don't merit that, and we have to pay for those surgeries up there. The key is to do tshuva and not to have surgeries anywhere, not here or there, and learn from the sages. So that's why the Gaon Vilna says this to his own dear righteous family, full of tzaddikim. Make sure you read this letter, but especially read it before you eat and after you eat. That way you're not leaving any room for error. You're not going to speak any idle talk, and needless to say, you're not going to speak Lashon Hara. Why Lashon Hara? Because that's what happens when a person becomes comfortable speaking idly, especially on Shabbat, where he opens up a little bit of the door to the Malach HaMavet, as HaKadosh Baruch Hu says to Cain, Lapetach hatat rovetz. You leave a little bit of opening to the sin, the whole thing is coming. The whole thing is coming. You start talking idly on Shabbat, that's it. Satan is already in the house. Before you know it, that idle talk will turn into Lashon Hara. That idle talk will turn into an argument. That idle talk will turn into losing your mind. That idle talk will turn into a tragedy. The Gaon Vilna is closing up all the doors here. He's making sure, he's like, listen, you want to make sure that your Shabbat is Shabbat Kodesh, it starts with your mouth. You may think it starts with the food. You may think it starts with the decorations. That's all good. But Shabbat Kodesh starts with your mouth. What does your mouth say or not say on Shabbat? That's how Shabbat Kodesh is created. With your mouth. If you say Divrei Torah, and only Divrei Torah, you'll have holiness in your entire Shabbat and in your entire week. You'll have strength for the entire week. If you talk Lashon Hara, if you speak about nonsense, talk about sports, talk about real estate that you bought or sold, or you want to buy, you want to sell, other people's money, the economy, other people's houses, who's dating who, where do you want to go on vacation, all types of simply meaningless things. Don't be surprised if you do not enjoy Shabbat, and definitely don't be surprised if it gets even worse with the next generation where your kids don't even end up keeping Shabbat. Because what ends up happening, Rabotai, is that even someone that is a big chacham doesn't preserve himself and his family from such things, he can easily lose his kids. There was actually a big chacham that came to America years ago to build an empire of Torah. An empire of Torah. He had some gvir, some rich person, financed the whole thing, built a huge place, big community. But what ended up happening? After many years, this chacham decided to go back to Eretz Yisrael. And when one of the people that we know spoke to him and said, what made you go back? He said, I hate America. Why? You benefit, you did this, you built that, you built a whole world over there, a huge entire community you built over there. He says, yeah, I built that entire community, but I lost my kids. What do you mean? He says, all my kids, the kids, they don't want to be B'nai Torah, some of them don't even want to be Jewish. So how could somebody that's such a gaon, such a giant in Torah, who's successful in the community and so on, how could his own kids be so far from where he is? He himself says that at times you'd feel so comfortable that he would talk about things that are in his heart. And he would talk about how this wealthy person that he had donating to him said this and said that, and he did this and he did that, and he would constantly talk about this wealthy person. And his kids, his little kids, they heard constantly all types of compliments about this wealthy guy, wealthy, if you did. So the kid says, listen, I don't understand. This house paid for by the wealthy guy. This dinner paid for by the wealthy guy. This community paid for by the wealthy guy. Compliments go to the wealthy guy. The topic of discussion, wealthy guy. Everyone looks up to the wealthy guy. And even the genius in Torah of the community, my father, what does he talk about? The wealthy guy. So why should I be like my father? Instead, I could be like the wealthy guy. So what does the wealthy guy do? He makes money. Okay, I want to make money. What else does he do? Does he keep Torah? Not so much. Not so much. Keep Shabbat? Sometimes. What about marriage? Well, his last wife, he bought her from Indonesia. What do you mean he bought her? He went on the internet and he pressed a few buttons, and before you know it, his wife was shipped. His wife was shipped. That's the wealthy guy. Yeah. And that's what ended up happening with one of the sons. Wanted to follow in the footsteps of the wealthy guy. Why? Because the genius father figured that his sons know that he learns Torah all the time, therefore they'll want to follow him. Not realizing that his sons are not going to follow just because he did it. If you admire something, your kids are going to admire something. If you want your kids to be tzaddikim, you're only supposed to talk about tzaddikim. And I highly recommend to people that, obviously love the emet. Love the emet, even when that emet that we speak about goes against different rabbis that are really fakers, liars, deceivers, heretics. Don't make that the conversation in front of your kids. Not on Shabbat or during the week. Don't speak about the stuff next to your kids. Why? Only speak about good rabbis. Only speak about good tzaddikim. Only speak about the righteous people. Why? Because your kids can't tell the difference between righteous, bad, good rabbi, bad rabbi. Before you know it, they're going to want to be a bad guy. No, I'm going to play the bad rabbi today. You don't want that. You want your kids to only know about tzaddikim. Tzaddikim, tzaddikim, tzaddikim. Get your kids as many books about tzaddikim as possible and read them over and over and over again. Don't worry, kids love to read the same thing for 1,000 times. If you have little shows, little videos that are about these tzaddikim, stories of the Baal Shem Tov, stories of different tzaddikim, you have your kids to watch those things. It impacts their neshama. Constantly talk about tzaddikim. Why? If they see tzaddikim, they learn about tzaddikim, they're going to want to be tzaddikim. And before you know it, you'll have a tzaddikim in your house. But if you're going to talk about people's salary and the salary caps and the sports players and the stock markets and the real estate and all the states and all the different things that are out there, then guess what? You'd be lucky if your kids stay religious altogether. What you talk about on your Shabbat table has a much bigger impact than you can possibly imagine. This is the reason why the Chachamim had a regular minhag to sing on Shabbat at the Shabbat table. Reb Michal Yudah Lefkowitz, he had a custom to not only sing around the Shabbat table, but he would actually teach people the songs, the lyrics, and the meaning of the words. Each Shabbat, he would teach people the Shabbat songs and what the songs mean, to get people connected with these songs, connected with Kedusha. When a person understands that their speech is critical, they'll have a very easy time understanding that if they don't use that speech the right way, it's very, very easy for the Satan to take over your entire Shabbat. Now, of course, just because you want to have a good Shabbat doesn't mean that the Satan goes on and retires. The whole week you had good Divrei Torah to say. Shabbat shows up, all of a sudden, it's like you've never learned a single page of Gemara in your life. You have nothing to say. The whole week, you speak, you talk, you have stories, you hear stories, you tell stories, you're learning, you read a few pages of Gemara, this, that, the other thing. Come Shabbat, no, Abba, can you tell us something? Yeah, what do you guys want to talk about? I don't know, you have something to tell us? Oh, listen, it was a tough week, I'm kind of tired, kids. Why don't you guys go play? All of a sudden, he has nothing to say. Hashem Yishmor v'Yatzil on those kids. Poor kids. So what do you do in a situation like this? You have nothing to say. You worked all week. You had no time. All of a sudden, you simply forgot. You forgot you have nothing to say. What do? Get yourself a book. Yeah. Give me one of the books that we bought for the kids, or for the adults, or for the adults that are kids, or the kids that are adults. Give me one of the books. Let's read out loud. Here? Yeah, here at the dinner table. At the lunch table. At the table. Let's read out loud. I'm going to read out loud, and that's what we're going to learn today. You open up a book, wherever you open it, and start learning. Start reading out loud. Stories of tzaddikim. Don't go into complicated sugiyot and so on. Midrashim, stories, bios, things of that nature. Start reading it out loud. It's the greatest gift you can give your family and yourself on Shabbat and any other day, really. But even more so on Shabbat. Why? Because the Satan will work extra hard to make you forget everything. And you're thinking, oh, I thought I'm the only one that forgets. How about this? I'm a speaker and I forget. I'm one of those people, Baruch Hashem, HaKadosh Baruch Hu gave me a gift. I could speak. I could speak. Yishtabach Shemo La'ad. When we had a couple of times, the HaKadosh Baruch Hu merited us to have the Oshana Rabbah, a shiur for 8-9 hours. Some people came up to me at the end and goes, wow, I can't believe you're able to speak for that long. I look at them like, why? What, you can't do that? No, average person can't do it. Sometimes, Baruch Hashem, a few times actually that we did it, Kadosh Baruch Hu gave us siyata d'ishmaya. At the end of a 9-hour session, I said, wait, we're just warming up. Let's get really going now. Like, we have another 10 hours to go. Why not? Kadosh Baruch Hu gave us the ability to speak, Shtabach Shemo, and good things and new things to say. I usually don't even like to repeat the same story twice. Kadosh Baruch Hu gave us a lot of siyata d'ishmaya. But guess what? Yetzirah also interferes. You know when it interferes? Shabbat, all of a sudden, forgets everything. It happened. I'm telling you, it happened. So don't worry, you're not alone. You're not alone. Yetzirah sometimes comes. I'm sitting over there. My kids is looking at me. I'm looking at them, and nothing comes out. Sometimes I'll have a guest. I'll have a guest come over. The guests usually come over. They think that they're going to get an entire personalized lecture, customized. Maybe I'll bring some angels, show them some Kabbalah or something. And sometimes they're disappointed. What? Nothing to say. Nothing to say. It happens. It happens, Rabotai. It happens. Now, what's our defense mechanism? Get yourself a book. Open the book. Read out loud. And guess what? Many times much better than anything I could say anyway. Many times better than what you can say. It's better than what? These are chachamim. You learn about their life. You learn about tzaddikim. You learn all types of story. Mamash delicious. Delicious. And guess what? You can take turns. You can take turns. You read a little bit. Your wife can read a little bit. If you have kids that know how to read a little bit, get them involved also. Take turns. But pay attention. Don't get them to read and you're going and doing something else. Everybody sit there and listen to this Torah, this story, this beauty. Listen to it like it is everything, because in reality it is everything. The Gaon Vilna says, this letter that I sent you, my dear wife, this letter that I sent you, my dear children, this letter is what I want you to talk about every single Shabbat. Why? Because I know that it has Divrei Elokim Chaim, the words of the living God. And even more so, I know that if you repeat it regularly, you'll be able to apply it to your life more easily. And even more so, you will avoid making critical sins, such as Lashon Hara. Because once you start getting yourself used to saying idle talk, all types of nonsense, the next thing comes is Lashon Hara. The next thing comes the rumors, the rechilut. It's just a natural build-up. You start talking nonsense, before you know it, an entire conversation about Lashon Hara, about somebody that you have no business talking about. Before you know it, that idle talk about something that no one really cares about except you, that whole conversation goes into completely made up rumors. Completely made up rumors. I have a few people here and there send me messages and say, Rabbi, I want to say I'm sorry. Okay, you're forgiven. What'd you do? No, I really said I'm sorry because I said something about you at the dinner table. I said something about you in my class. And I said, okay, listen. Me, I don't really care what you say. So I don't get offended. Don't worry. I forgive you. By default, I forgive you. It's good you say I'm sorry. You should say I'm sorry. But that's not, you shouldn't think for a moment that you're finished by simply saying I'm sorry to me. Oh, no, that's not enough. Why? I said, because you said what you said in front of people. So you have to say and fix what you said in front of all those people. You have to go fix it. Oh, Rabbi, I don't remember who was there. Okay, you have to fix it. Somebody came to the Chafetz Chaim and said, Rabbi, I read your book. I want to fix all the Lashon Hara right away. How do I fix it? Say, is there a quick way to fix everything? Chafetz Chaim says to him, go bring me a pillow from your house of feathers. Pillow of feathers? That's how I'm going to fix it? Yeah, go get the pillow of feathers. So the guy figured, oh, this is probably some type of Kabbalistic, mystical teachings of the Chafetz Chaim. I'm privy to it. Baruch Hashem, great. Runs to the house. Speed of light. He's back with a pillow full of feathers. Here you go, Rabbi. Okay, great. Get a knife. A knife? Yeah, get a knife. Okay, the guy was a person that dealt with tools, had a knife on him, takes the knife out. Okay, cut up the pillow. This pillow, cut up the pillow. Shh, cuts up the pillow. Okay, come with me. So he comes up with him. They go to the roof. He said, now, take the pillow, open up the pillow, and let all the feathers fly out. So the guy is like, wow, this is amazing. This is amazing. Maybe the feathers are all going to turn to angels. And each one of them is going to go say I'm sorry to all those people and fix all the things I said. So he's like excited. Shh, yeah, fix my sins. And after he's back to reality, Chafetz Chaim says to him, okay, now go collect every single feather. The guy doesn't know what kind of truck just hit him. He says, excuse me? What do you mean go pick up the feathers? You mean the feathers that the angels? Yeah, the angels, the feathers. Go pick them all up. It's impossible, Rabbi. They're all over the place. The wind took them. Says the Chafetz Chaim. It's impossible to pick them all up. Some of them you can pick up, but it's impossible to pick up all of them. He goes, same thing with fixing all of your Lashon Hara, just like that. Impossible to fix it up just like that. Impossible. Why? Because you said what you said about Talmid Chacham, about a good person, about an honest Jew, about your friend, about your this, about your that. You said something. You didn't say it to yourself. You didn't say it to just your spouse. You didn't just say it to your buddy. You said it in front of people. You wrote a comment on the internet. You made a comment on Facebook because you wanted to tell everybody how you feel. Rabbi, I like your lecture, but you know what? I disagree with what you're saying. I don't think you know what you're talking about. You felt the world needs to see your comment. You can't send the rabbi a private email or a message or simply not say it. You have to let the whole world know that you disagree with the rabbi. Or best yet, Rabbi, I don't think the source that you mentioned is right. I think it's a different page. I think you should be careful, Rabbi. Or, you know what, Rabbi? I don't like the music in this video. Maybe you should make the same video without music, because this music is really annoying. It's going to make people not like it. And all types of silly things that you just simply had to get out of your precious little heart. Now, unfortunately, that precious little heart just caused other people to also say that the rabbi is an idiot, to also say that there's a mistake, to also be weakened by your words. So to go and fix all of that, not so easy. Why? You have to go collect those feathers. You have to go tell everybody, listen, I'm sorry. I made a mistake. I shouldn't have said the rabbi is extreme. What he's saying is emet. Hey, I'm sorry. I shouldn't have called the rabbi names and called him an ape. Why? He's really a human being, and he's actually a decent human being too. Hey, I'm sorry that I did. It's not so easy to fix that. Why? Because you don't know who heard what you said. You don't know who heard what you said. To go and undo all of that, Habibi, is going to be a difficult task. A difficult task. Doesn't mean you should give up. You should surely do tshuva, but it's going to be a very difficult task, no less difficult then collecting all those feathers that went up into the air, because initially the person thought that just because he started keeping some mitzvah, all of those feathers turn into angels. But the Chafetz Chaim says, no, Habibi. They did not turn into angels. That's just your imagination. That's just your imagination. There's no angel here. You have to fix everything. You have to fix everything. Fixing everything, first and foremost, starts with a public apology. How many times? As many times as you possibly can do it. If it's 1,000,000 times you have to do it, then do it 1,000,000 times, depending on who you did it against. Until you get forgiven. But not only that, you share the information. What's the source? The entire Sefer Sha'arei Tshuva by Rabbeinu Yonah is based on exactly what I'm talking about. Rabbeinu Yonah of Gerondi was a genius. A chatan of the Ramban from the same family, an extraordinary scholar, but initially was one of the scholars that misunderstood the writings of the Rambam, Maimonides, and went against the Rambam publicly, along other Chachamim, burned his books, thought that this is good, but then realized that he was mistaken when he saw that the Christians started to burn countless Gemarot, countless Sifrei Kodesh, and he understood with his holy neshama that if HaKadosh Baruch Hu allowed these idol worshippers to burn our Gemarot, to burn our oral Torah, surely that's only a measure for our actions. Which means that our actions were wrong. I made a mistake going against the Rambam. Let me actually read and learn what he said, and from a perspective of, he is right, I am wrong. I'm learning. And he read, and he read, and he read, and he learned the truth, which is the Rambam was not only right, he's the Gedol Hador. He's the biggest rabbi since Moshe Rabbeinu. What do I do now? Says Rabbeinu Yonah. I have to go fix it. Go collect the feathers. How do I go collect the feathers? I don't know who heard me say things against the Rambam. I don't know who saw me burn one of the books. I don't know who did it. And therefore spent the next 25 years going from community to community, all over the world, publicizing his mistake. I went against the Rambam. I am wrong. Rambam is right. Rambam is Gedol Hador. Read his books. You read it, learn his Torah. It's the emet. Now you have here not just some average avrech no one ever heard of. Rabbeinu Yonah is one of the biggest rabbis in history. Needless to say, wrote Sha'arei Tshuva, which is one of the most fundamental teachings of Musar we have available in the world. One of the most important works of Musar in the world. Rabbeinu Yonah, when did he write this? As a result of his 2-decade-long tshuva for going against the Rambam. He wrote his perspective, his understanding of what tshuva is, based on obviously countless sources from the Gemara, from teachings of the sages and so on, and his experience. He wasn't writing it theoretically. He was writing it in reality. This is what you have to feel in order to do tshuva. This is what you have to do tshuva for. This is what you have to fix. This is what happens if you don't. And he talks about everything. Rabotai Yekarim, when you say something against a kosher Jew, you have a serious problem. When you say something against a Talmid Chacham, you have a problem, a very serious problem. When you say something against somebody that's a person that helps Am Yisrael do tshuva, you have yourself a very serious problem. When you say any of that publicly through writing or verbal or video, it's not a problem. It's simply terminal cancer. That's what it is. That's what it is. It's simply terminal cancer. The question is just how much time Hashem's going to give you. It's spiritually a terminal thing. The people that speak against rabbis, Talmidei Chachamim, real serious people that are dedicated to the public, they're simply taking cancer from Gehenom somewhere and they're putting it inside themselves. Hashem Yishmor. So comes the Gaon Mivilna and says, no, my dear children, no, my dear wife, you're all tzaddikim, I want you to stay tzaddikim. How do you stay tzaddikim? Keep the door closed. When a Satan comes, let him knock until he's blue in the face. Never let him in. Never speak idle words. Never speak Lashon Hara. Never make up any rumors. Not privately and not publicly. If you don't do it privately, then you won't do it publicly. But if you do it privately, eventually you'll do it publicly too. If you speak idly, eventually you're going to speak Lashon Hara. If you speak Lashon Hara, eventually you're going to say rechilut, which is making up rumors. And if you say rechilut, most likely you're going to feel already comfortable to say it to other people, and many people maybe even make a whole page about it, videos about it, everything, write books about it. And you have, unfortunately, an entire generation of people that's what they're doing all day. All day they're talking against rabbis. This rabbi is against the virus vaccine. This one is for it. He doesn't know what he's talking about. He's crazy. He's old. He's deaf. He is that. He ta-ta. And you have literally one person after another losing their olam haba, bringing cancer, spiritual cancer to their life. And then they cry when HaKadosh Baruch Hu gives them cancer. They cry. On them it is written, Ivelet Adam tesalef darko ve'al Adonai yiz'af libo. Says Shlomo HaMelech, the stupidity of man causes him to go against Hashem, and then he gets mad at Hashem for punishing him. They say all types of stupid things against Chachamim, against rabbis, against real good people, good Jews. And then HaKadosh Baruch Hu punished them, and then they're surprised. They're surprised. What? All I did is write a comment. Everybody else wrote a comment. Okay, so everybody else is going to have spiritual cancer too. Everybody else is going to have spiritual cancer also. No, she's been doing it already for a while. I didn't see anything. I didn't see anything happen to her. Okay, just wait. Hashem has patience with different people, different amount of patience. I've seen with my own eyes. Rabotai Kareem, what I would never want any of you to see. I've seen with my own eyes. What happens to people that go against the Torah? What happens to people that even more so go against Mezakei Arabim? I've seen with my own eyes HaKadosh Baruch Hu take personal account with those people and literally turn their lives into Gehenom in this world. And those people, you could have Moshe Rabbeinu come down from Mount Sinai and tell them this is why it's happening, and they still won't believe you. Why? They're so delusional at this point. From the suffering, from the agony, from everything that's happening, even if you brought them the truth on a silver platter, they cannot accept it. They cannot accept it. It's almost a lost cause. Mamash, aside from like Hashem's mercy, there's nothing to do about those people. And you see one bad experience after another. How did it start? Simple. Idle talk. Idle talk with other people, then Lashon Hara, then Rechilut. Before you know it, public statements, public comments, public videos, and little by little, building themselves a real life, personal chamber in Gehenom. And only Hashem's mercy is what's given them their surgeries in this world, rather than in the next world, where they have all types of issues, miskini, poor people. Mamash, on one hand you feel bad for them, on the other hand you can't feel bad for Rasha. You feel bad, but you can't feel bad. It's mamash a nightmare. Now, how does a person get to a point of removing that arrogance that allows him or her to be angry whenever you want? Because in reality, the root of anger is arrogance. The root of Lashon Hara is arrogance. The root of practically all sins is arrogance. How does a person remove this arrogance? Like we said in the beginning of the lecture. The less you, the less me, the more you. Meaning, minimize yourself. Don't look for credit. Don't look for appreciation. Run away from kavod. Chachamim say, person that runs away from kavod, kavod chases him. You run away from kavod, Hashem's going to want to give you kavod. You run away from honor, Hashem's going to want to give you honor. Unfortunately, most people run towards honor. Most people want honor. And HaKadosh Baruch Hu doesn't like such people. And that's why you see many times those people have public embarrassments. You'll see their wig fall off in the middle of a interview on TV. You'll see that they fall and trip in public. You'll see them make silly statements that don't make any sense. See all types of things. Why? Kadosh Baruch Hu brings shame to those people that look for honor, look for kavod. But a person that runs away from kavod, runs away from honor, Hashem wants to give him kavod. But sometimes a person lies to themselves. There was one time a guy tells the rabbi, listen, rabbi, I don't understand. You said if I run away from kavod, then kavod's going to chase me. I've been running away from kavod for a long time, but I don't see it chasing me. So the rabbi says to him, no, Habibi, run away from kavod, run away from honor means that you actually genuinely don't want it. You don't want it because you know that all the honor in the world goes to Hashem. The thought you had came from Hashem. The money you have is Hashem. The success you have, Hashem. Customers, Hashem. Your spouse, Hashem. Your kids, Hashem. Everything you have is Hashem. Everything that you have is Hashem, came from Hashem. All the honor, all the glory goes to Hashem. You don't want any honor. So running from honor means that you understand, you attribute everything to Hashem. Somebody says, oh, you did really good, Baruch Hashem. Oh, it looks really good, Baruch Hashem. Everything is Baruch Hashem. All the honor to Hashem. All the honor to Hashem. Then that's running away from honor. You, on the other hand, what do? You run away from the honor, but then you look behind. Oh, is he chasing me? You chasing me? Oh, not yet. Okay, let me run. Up. Is he chasing? Let me go. Take a step back. You chasing me? You're not really running away from honor. You're looking back every few moments. You're looking for honor. You're pretending that you're running away from honor. Now, if you want to have a Kadosh Baruch Hu, make sure that you get the glory, you shouldn't want it. You shouldn't want it. Minimize yourself, just like the Chazon Ish. The Chazon Ish said, look how beautiful the Musar lesson is in the streets. You learn from the streets. What do you learn from the streets? He says, look, in the streets at night, especially as the sun comes down, people see their shadows, right? The closer you get to the light, the smaller your shadow. The further you are from the light, the bigger your shadow. That's a personal Musar lesson from HaKadosh Baruch Hu, says the Chazon Ish. The closer you get to my Torah, the smaller you realize that you really are. The closer you are to my light, the smaller you realize you are, and everything is Hashem. The further you are from the light, the more of a big deal you think you are. I'm the biggest businessman in my neighborhood. I'm a biz, and I'm a ba, and you're nothing. You're just far from the light, that's what you are. You have a big illusion, a big shadow, illusion. Illusion. No, but Rabbi, I made $5 million last year. Illusion. Illusion. You made? Bupkis you made. To go to the bathroom, you can't go by yourself. You made anything? No, but I went to work. Honestly, Rabbi, I went to work. I made the calls. I built the this. I built the that. But who gave you the strength? Who gave you the wisdom? Who gave you the customer? Who gave you them? Who gave you all? Oh, yeah, of course, Hashem. But I didn't contribute anything. Yeah, you chose. You chose to serve Hashem or go against Hashem. You chose to what to do with the money and what not to do with the money. You chose. You chose to serve Hashem or go against Hashem. That's what you chose. You chose to go spend all your time working. Okay, you chose. Why? Because you believe that you need to work 1,000 hours a day in order to make all this money. So in essence, you chose money over God. It's not a very good choice. Why? Because you would have made that money anyway, even if you were sitting in a kollel learning Torah all day. Why? Because it was already written on Rosh Hashanah that you will make $5 million. But you didn't believe that. You believe that you have to go sell and this and that and cheat people and lie and manipulate and this and that. And that's how you're going to make $5 million. You need to do that? Okay, so there you go. You made the $5 million, but you have no blessing. You made the $5 million, but you're still miserable. You have made the $5 million, but you don't even realize that it's all a shadow. Because you're far away from the light. Person lives an illusion. In order for a person to stop living that illusion, they have to realize everything is a Kadosh Baruch Hu. Everything is a Kadosh Baruch Hu. How can you make yourself realize everything is a Kadosh Baruch Hu? Realize first and foremost all the blessings, everything that you have, good or bad, comes from Hashem. Everything you say Baruch Hashem. That's number one. Number two, realize that you're not alone in this world, and I'm not talking about aliens. You're not alone in this world. There are other people in the world. If people come to you, if Hashem sends people to you in some way or another, they don't have to be, carrying some type of notebook with Hashem's signature on it. Somebody comes to you, they're needy, they have a need, they have a problem. That's Hashem sending him to you. He wants to see what you're going to do with that person. You're going to help him or not. You got blessed. They did not. Are you going to help them or not? You're going to be a vessel that Hashem uses or not? Everything that Hashem sends you, what are you going to do with it? You say, no, I already gave my tzedakah for the day. What, so you can't give the guy $5, you can't give the guy $20, you can't give them anything because you met your quota, that's it, you can't do more? Do you want Hashem to be like that with you, that he met his quota with you, he gave you air to breathe, that's it, he doesn't have to give you any more? Person needs to understand everything comes from Hashem, including all of those opportunities. Realize you're not alone in the world. You're not alone in the world. Every single thing that comes your way is an opportunity to serve Hashem or go against Him. When a person understands this to the fullest extent, they can easily become one of the most righteous people in a generation. The Rabbanit Batsheva, Alea Shalom, Batsheva Kanievsky, who was the daughter of Rabbi Yashiv, the wife of Rav Kanievsky. She was a Malach Hashem, an angel among men, Mamash, an angel. Her entire house was practically hefker for the community. Whoever wants to come in, leave. Community used our house like it's public property, because in essence it was. You didn't have to knock on Rav Kanievsky's door. You just simply entered. Rabbanit Kanievsky did not stop helping people that came her way. She understood every one of these people that came here, they came my way, they crossed my path, that's a Kadosh Baruch Hu sending me an opportunity. And many times people would hurt her. They would ask for help and she simply was not able to do something or she didn't have something. They start yelling at her, insulting her in public. Even after she helped them and she helped everybody else, they would insult her and this, and it would hurt. And not once did she ever take offense from it. Not once did she ever get angry against those people. In fact, she would make sure to help them even more. She would help them even more. Mamash, it's not a trait. We're not like these people. These are tzaddikim, but we have to learn from the tzaddikim, so at the very least we could aim towards something. You aim towards the moon, because even if you end up at the clouds, it's still good. You don't aim at the tree, because in reality, if you miss the tree, maybe you'll end up in the ground. You look at the tzaddikim, and you see, what can I do? When will my actions be like my forefathers? And this is not even what we're talking about, Avraham, Yitzhak, and Yaakov. We're talking about Rabbanit Kanievsky, this generation, our lifetime. She had this woman that was not mentally well and very poor. Decided to park all of her stuff in their house. And all her stuff came with its own unique smell. Its own unique things that came with it. Rabbanit Kanievsky gave her it. This is your bed, this is where you sleep. Mamash, this woman would come sleep at this house for years. For years. She'd leave during the day, go somewhere, leave all of her interesting stuff, and come back. One time she asked the Rabbanit, middle of the night, she wakes up the Rabbanit. My foot itches. I'm sorry. You have cream for foot? The Rabbanit says, Mama, she woke up in the middle of the night, 3 o'clock in the morning. No, I'm sorry, I don't have a cream for the foot. No, I don't have. No, come on. She starts yelling at her in the middle of the night. How do you not have it? You have everything. How come you don't have the stuff that I need? How do you not have the stuff that I need? In the middle of the night, this woman starts yelling at her. The Rabbanit, Mamash, angel, says, I wish I had it. I would give it to you. I just don't have it. No, you must have it. I'm going to start looking. And she starts going through everything. Middle of the night, she starts going through her room, starts going through stuff. She takes some vows, she says, see, I found it. And she walks out. Rabbanit goes back to sleep. A few hours later, bloody murder screams from the room. Ah! The Rabbanit runs out of the bed, sees this woman screaming her lungs out. What did you do to me? Nothing. What happened? Look! She shows her feet. She took this thing that she found and she put it all over her feet. And it stopped itching. She went to sleep. She woke up. She can't move her feet. Why? Because what she took was not cream for the feet. It was glue. It was glue. Glue that she glued herself to the sheets and everything else. And who do you think had to remove all of that glue from the feet of this woman? With the unique smells and the unique attitude. Who do you think? The Rabbanit. And she was a very clean woman. She was a very good woman. She loved beautiful things. She was very clean. She was a beautiful person. Both in and out. But this is a mitzvah. Mitzvah that came my way. She understood it. She understood it full well. This is from Hashem. A test from Hashem. After that, mitzvah for me to do it. Less me, more you. Very same woman. One time, comes into the house when the Rabbanit was out and goes to a room where she usually sleeps and she sees Rav Kanievsky's grandson sleeping in the room. Why? Because they just finished a study session. He got tired. He went to the room, went to sleep. It's his grandfather's house. What happens? Bloody murder. She starts screaming at him. What are you doing? It's my room. My room, get out of here. He goes, no, I'm just tired. I'm here. You're tired. You're sleeping in my room. She starts screaming. He goes, what room? This is my grandfather's. It says my room. My room. She almost took ownership. My room. Rav Kanievsky comes, runs to see what's going on. What happened? Oh no, it's just because the Rabbanit usually takes care of things. She's just not here today. But perhaps maybe you can come back a little later when the Rabbanit is back so there's no issues of yichud, men and women. She looks at Rav Kanievsky, the owner of the house, and starts screaming at him bloody murder. Who are you to tell me what to do? This is my room. You're not going to tell me what to do and how to talk. What does Rav Kanievsky do? You're right. And he and the grandson leave the house. They leave the house. Why? Chas v'shalom, there will be a woman in the house with them and not his wife. Chas v'shalom. And what about the fact that she's screaming at you in your own house and all that stuff? Shtiyot, it's all Hashem. It's all Hashem. Less me, more you. She's a mitzvah opportunity for us to control our anger. She's a mitzvah opportunity for us. She's good for us. It's Hashem sending us a private tutor to teach us how to contain our anger, how to contain our arrogance, how to have patience. She's a personal mitzvah. That's all she is. That's what the Gdolim, that's what the Tzaddikim, that's how they think. Us, on the other hand, not so much. Not so much. We think mitzvah for him. Hashem not give me such mitzvot. Hashem Yishmor v'yatzil with mitzvah. But that's where we have to shoot for. You don't just become the Gadol Ador because you read a lot of books. A lot of people read a lot of books, but they don't become the Gadol Ador. Rabotai Yekarim, you become a Gadol, you become a Kadosh, because you use all that Torah knowledge to perfect your neshama by completely destroying the me. Destroying that me and realizing there's something much bigger than me. What is it? Everything else. What's bigger than me? Everything is bigger than me. He is bigger than me. She's bigger than me. They're bigger than me. And of course, the Almighty and all of His blessings are bigger than me. Needless to say, He is bigger than me. His commandments are bigger than me. His laws are bigger than me. Everything is bigger than me. Less me, more you. When a person starts thinking that way, the more you think that way, the less you think you even have a right to be angry. In fact, the more you think that way, the more not being angry becomes a reality. The more angry you are, the more there is a me in you, the more arrogant you are. Anger comes from arrogance. If you are angry constantly because the world is not dancing to your tune, because your spouse is not doing everything you commanded him or her to do, because your kids are not functioning at the level that you assumed that they will, and the job did not do exactly what it was supposed to do, and the customer did not say exactly what he was supposed to say, and everything is not in accordance to your plan, you, my dear friend, have a very serious problem. And it's not the customer, it's not your spouse, it's not your friend, it's you. You're the problem. What's the problem? You. You think there's a lot of you. There's in fact too much you. There's too much you. You have to start working on less me, more you. But understand that the more you do that, the more you'll actually benefit. The more you'll feel that the me has a purpose. The me that's there, although it's smaller, it has a purpose. It has a meaning. I am a chupchik in a Kadosh Baruch Hu's world. I'm a little knob in Hashem's world. That's a great accomplishment. I'm a little thing that Hashem uses once in a while to do His will. Amazing. I'm not living an illusion thinking that I'm running the world. I'm not living an illusion thinking that I am the world. I'm not living an illusion thinking that the world runs according to my likings. No. But rather, I am a little chupchik, I'm a little knob, I'm a little button that Hashem presses once in a while. That's an achievement. That's an achievement. Why? You realize you are a little button in Hashem's world, a little chupchik. But if the more you think you're not a chupchik, you're an entire industry, you're an entire association, you're an entire community, you're an entire world, you, my very dear friend, are very sick, spiritually sick, and it's time to take the cure. And the cure is less me, more you. When a person understands that this is the greatest thing you can gift yourself, the greatest thing you can gift yourself, simply eliminating all that ego, all that arrogance, you'll see that your life turns into one big blessing. You'll see that your anger dissipates. You'll see that your marriage improves. You'll see that appreciation comes naturally to you. You'll notice everything she does. Oh wow, she wore a different dress today. Honey, beautiful dress. She's surprised you're even looking at her after 20 years of marriage. You noticed my dress? Yeah, it's beautiful. It's the same dress I wore yesterday. I don't know. Yesterday was beautiful and today it looks brand new. It's amazing. It looks great on you. What's got into him, she thinks. Looks at his kids. Hey, how are you? I love you. Come, give Abba a hug. Give Abba a hug. I love you guys. Is Abba sick, Ima? Why is he hugging me? Just hug him, honey. We're not really sure what the diagnosis is. Just hug him. Just hug him. All of a sudden, your employees get personal letters. Thank you. Really appreciate what you're doing for the company. You okay, senor? I work here 20 years. You never say thank you once. No, I'm sorry I didn't say thank you. You know what? I'm going to give you a raise. How? Less me, more you. the more you realize you're a little chupchik in HaKadosh Baruch Hu's world, you'll realize that HaKadosh Baruch Hu has other chupchiks. There are other people in the world, not just you. And some of those, they help you. They help you a lot. Sometimes a lot more than you help them or help anybody else. Notice them. And those that don't help you, they help you also. Why? They're there not to help you and help you in the process. He came to go curse you. He came to go insult you. He came to go hurt you. But that's to help you. How is hurting you, cursing you to help you? To see. Have you built yourself? Do you think you are chupchik still, or all of a sudden you became the monster that you really have been hiding? Came to test you. So Kadosh Baruch Hu takes the mic. Testing. Testing. Only that's your head. Testing. Testing. How did you deal with the public embarrassment? How did you deal with the insults? You realize you're a chupchik. You realize you're a nothing. So you'll realize that all of these people and all of these things, they're all for your benefit. They're all for your benefit. And that, Rabotai, turns your life into a blessing. Mamash, a blessing. If you could take that and bring that to your Shabbat, what a Shabbat you're going to have. What a Shabbat you're going to have. What a Shabbat you're going to have. It's going to be mamash blessings. Why? Because less me, more you. On Shabbat, it's all you, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. It's all you. Lemancha Hashem, lemancha, everything is for you. I'm going to eat just for you. I'm going to drink just for you. I'm going to say blessings just for you, for your honor, for your glory. All the other nations, they eat and we eat. But there's a difference between us. Why? They eat to fill their stomachs, but we eat to glorify our God. They eat to satisfy their desires. We eat in order to get more strength to serve our Creator. Says the Kli Yakar in Parashat Ki Tisa, in Shir HaShirim chapter 7 verse 3, Shlomo HaMelech says, your stomach is a heap of wheat, hedged with roses. And the Kli Yakar says, from here we learn that Am Yisrael is exalted over the other nations, not only in spiritual matters, but even in physical matters of the stomach, and that their manner of eating is hedged with roses, bound by strict rules of etiquette and proper behavior. We even have halachot in the Shulchan Aruch, in Orach Chaim, Siman 170. And for this reason, the Jews praise Hashem in the course of their meal, because to Him, eating is not merely a means of fulfilling one's desires, but rather it's a holy exercise designed to give a person the strength to learn Torah and do mitzvot. When there's less you, everything becomes significant. Everything becomes significant, including your food, your marriage, and all of the blessings that you have. Even the curses become significant. Be'ezrat Hashem, each and every single one of us will use and apply as much as they can of this to their life, to make their world greater by making it less me, more you. Baruch Adonai Leolam. Amen ve'amen.
אני מברך את הרבנים, רגע. אני מברך את הרבנים, הרב ירון ראובן, הרב אפרים כחלון, ראשי ארגון בעזרת השם, שהלכו בפי עליון, שעלו מעלה, יהיה להם ברכה והצלחה, הקדוש ברוך הוא ימלא בישועות ליבם לטובה ולברכה, שבכל מה שיפנו ישכילו ויצליחו, יזכרו לעשות כאלה וכאלה, הודיעו תורה לאדירה, אמן ואמן.
בעזרת השם רשת בכל הארץ. הוא היהודי הזה, הוא היה מיליונר, סגר את כל הביזנס, אמר אני משקיע פה בעולמה של תורה.
איפה הוא גר?
בפלורידה.
פלורידה, איפה זה פלורידה? באמריקה.
במיימי. כן, ליד. אנחנו שם עכשיו הולכים להקים קהילה ספרדית.
חזק אותו בשביל.
קהילה ספרדית גדולה.
תעבירו מה שבירכתי אותו.
כן, קהילה ספרדית גדולה.